guys, it's me, Sherelle. I'm just gonna do a quick story time for you today. I was just trying to think of some like true crime adjacent stories that I might have that I could tell you that would still have like something to do with true crime, but would also be just like a little more information about me personally, if that's something that you're interested in. It takes place kind of a long time ago, when I was in high school, which is longer ago than I care to really consider. First thing is just please do not come for me for like exact dates and times and things like that, because I am terrible, like really bad recalling dates and times, especially when we're talking about things that were like almost 20 years ago. So if I say that something happened in 2002, when, you know, online it says that happened in 2003 or 2001 or 2000, I'm not lying. I just do not have the ability to recall that information. I literally couldn't tell you where I like lived in the year 2007. I really don't know. I'm just telling the story from my perspective to the best of my ability. That's that. Also, I'm gonna be going into this with like the understanding that you know a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein and who he is. I'm not going to be getting into like the details of his case specifically. Netflix has a really good documentary on him. I think it's called Filthy Rich or something like that. He basically ran like a sex trafficking ring, I guess you could call it, and as a billionaire was not appropriately punished. But this took place in my hometown and like around the time that, well, exactly like during the time that I lived there. And I didn't realize what was going on at the time, but I actually was like asked to be a part of his little harem twice. I am going to be telling that story today. If that's something that you're interested in, then I hope that you enjoy the story. So yeah, this all started for me when I got my first job at the Wellington Mall at a store called Hollister. I grew up in West Palm Beach, which is like a super like rich, bougie part of South Florida, Wellington to be specific. And growing up, we didn't have a mall there. We had the Palm Beach Gardens Mall, which was close to where I lived because I lived kind of like on the outskirts of town, but in actual Wellington, the closest mall really was the Palm Beach Gardens Mall, which was like super rich, super bougie. And the only real reason that my friends and I would go there would be because they had an Abercrombie. And that was like the hot store when I was growing up. Like, is Abercrombie still around? Like, is that still a place that people, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody wearing Abercrombie in such a long time, but that was literally all I wore throughout middle school and high school and all my friends. That's just, that was our store. And when the Wellington Mall was announced and they announced all the stores, there was going to be an Abercrombie, but there was also an Abercrombie like owned store called Hollister. We had never had one of these before. I'd never been in one. And when the mall opened and we like went to it for the first time, I believe I was in 10th grade. I think this would have been in the year 2000, possibly 2001. Again, I don't know for sure. We went to the mall and went into Hollister, and it was like, it's owned by Abercrombie, so the vibe is like very similar, but it was more geared toward high school age people rather than college. And so when I walked in there, I was just like, this is my dream store. This is like so my vibe. It's just like beach, casual, like awesome short skirts and jean cutoffs and tank tops, and like, just if you've been in Hollister, you know the vibe that I'm talking about. And that was just everything that I was looking for. I also needed a job though. Lots of my friends in the area were not really concerned with getting a job. Like, their parents were pretty well off, and that was just not a consideration that they were making in their lives. Me, on the other hand, I did need a job, and I also knew that I wanted these clothes, and I wasn't going to be able to just like afford getting them every week. So this was going to be killing two birds with one stone, because to work there, you had to wear the clothes there. So you would get a discount to help you like be able to continue to buy the clothes to continue to work there. It wasn't a huge discount. It was like 25 or 30% off, but it was more than I would get if I didn't work there. And again, I needed the money. So they would even let you like buy clothes in advance and like write it down in a book and then take it out of your paycheck before they paid you. So this sounds awesome, and it was awesome, but for someone like me, like by the time I got paid, I'd literally get like $20 plus all the clothes that I bought for the week. But like I was not actually taking home like much money. Like most of what I made was just for clothes. But I was in high school, that was fine with me. So the day that I got hired there, I remember that same day I had gotten my acceptance letter to the University of Miami, which was one of the schools that I had applied to that I really wanted to go to. So I remember putting on my AOL Instant Messenger away message, like, this is the best day ever. I got my first job and I got accepted to UM, like, go Canes, something, awesome like that. So I guess whenever you get your college acceptance letters, 11th grade, maybe beginning with 12th, I'm going to stop stressing about the dates and times. I'm like trying my hardest, but these were the milestones happening in my life. This is the best that I can recall when these things happen. So the day I got hired, the day I got into I started working at Hollister, and I pretty much worked there throughout the rest of high school. And then I ended up going to the University of Florida, not University of Miami. And whenever I would come home for like spring break or winter break or even some weekends, just anytime that I was going to be home for like an extended period of time and I needed a job, like needed to make some money, I would pick up shifts at Hollister. And in stores in the mall, if you've never worked in a place like that, it's most people there are working in addition to going to school, like either college or high school. So most of us were part-time. There were a ton of people that worked there to cover all the hours that the store was open, but most of us did not work like 40 hours a week. We worked like 15 or 20. So there was a ton of people that worked there. You rarely worked with like the same people every schedule, because our schedules were pretty much always different. And it's just, you didn't really, like every job that I've worked as an adult, you work, your set schedule, you work with the same people every day, like those are your family, your work family, whatever. This was not the vibe there. Like you could work with someone one day and you literally never see them again. You don't know if they still work there, if they got fired, if they quit. And a lot of people would quit because like they would like the idea of having a job and like working at Hollister, like getting clothes and working at the cool place in the mall, but they didn't actually want to work, and they didn't really have to work because they, had pretty easy access to mommy and daddy's credit card. So it was just like fun at first, and then, it gets old, like actually working. But I continued to work there. So I would see like tons of people come and go. But my best friend, Grace, wanted a job also. So a couple weeks after I got hired and I was like kind of cool with the manager, I had asked if they would hire, if my friend Grace could come in. And when we were working there, I remember, this is just a side note, they didn't even like, on the application itself, I believe you're applying to be like, if you want to be a cashier or someone who like walks around and helps people find clothes or like folds clothes or whatever, like you're applying to be a model. Like it doesn't even say cashier or whatever. Like it says model, and I guess it's because like you're wearing the clothes that they're selling, and so people see them on you. I guess you're just modeling the clothes, and if they want to buy them, you just quickly ring them up and then get back on the floor. But it was just basically just like high school, college age eye candy to sell Hollister clothes. Anyway, so I get Grace the job there, and we both worked there. We would try our hardest to work together, but again, the schedule was like very sporadic and not anything dead set. So sometimes, we would work together, and just sometimes we wouldn't. The mall was in Wellington where we went to high school, but it was the only mall that was around like for like probably 6, 7 other high schools. So the people that we worked with, some went to Wellington High, but some went to Royal Palm Beach High. Like everyone in the surrounding high school areas could all work there too. So I remember one day, mine and Grace's best friend, Lydia, called me. Oh my God, when you get to work, you need to find Grace. Like something crazy just happened to her, and she's gonna wanna tell you about it. So I'm like walking in the store, I'm on the phone with Lydia, on like my, bright pink Nokia, old school cell phone, and I see Grace in the store, and I'm standing outside of the store finishing my conversation with Lydia, and Grace and I make eye contact, and I could tell by the look on her face like that she had something to tell me. Lydia had just told me that Grace had something to tell me, and now I could see on her face like she really had something to tell me. So I'm like, okay, Lydia, I gotta go. I'll call you later, like see you after work or whatever. So I walk in and Grace, like books it for me. Like she's at the back of the store. I'm walking in, I'm like checking out like the display, like the new clothes that had been put out, like trying to see like, basically what I'm gonna try to buy during my shift somehow. And she comes over to me and she would always do this thing where she would just like grab your arm and like pull you away to tell you her important information. And she's very dramatic. So I was just like, I'm sure whatever she has to tell me is going to be like something cool, but like I wasn't really ready for what she was about to say. So she comes up to me and she's like, do you know that girl, Haley, we'll call her. And I was like, I think so. And she told me what school she went to and kind of what she looked like. And so many people fit this description. And I was like, I mean, I think I know who you're talking about. And she's, but what happened? And she proceeds to tell me that Haley had come up to her earlier that day, like before I got there, and had asked her like how she liked working at Hollister. And Grace was like, I've only worked here for like a couple of weeks. It's fine. Like, I'm not gonna work here for the rest of my life, but I want clothes, etc. But she's just like, she thinks that this girl is genuinely just asking her like how she likes working here. She didn't know that she was like setting her up for a different proposition. So she tells her, it's fine. I like working here, whatever. So Haley says to her, okay, well, that's cool. But if you ever want to make like extra money, if you want like a different job, I have another job that it's really easy and like I think you would be really good for it and I make like really good money. So Grace is like, okay, like what is it? Like what exactly do you do? So she tells Grace what she does and Grace is like, no, like it's gonna be a pass for me, but I guess, thanks for thinking of me. And the girl was like, Haley was like, you can't tell anyone that I asked you about this. Like, I understand if you don't want to do it, but like, please do not like spread the word that I'm like asking people about this. Like, I am going to ask a couple of other girls, but like, I don't want like the word around the store being that like, I'm trying to, get people to do this other thing. So Grace is like, okay, like I'll, forget about it, whatever. Well, I mean, she literally told me like the second that I walked in the door, but I wasn't going to tell anyone. It was fine. But this girl was like very, very paranoid about other people not knowing what the job was or that she was trying to get people to do the job unless you accepted the job. I was like, wow, like that was kind of crazy. And as I'm saying that, I see the girl Haley walk out of the dressing rooms and she looks at me and Grace, and I guess she probably from like, I don't know, she probably knew that we were like, that Grace was telling me like what had just happened with them. So she walks over to both of us and she hits me up with like exactly what she just asked Grace. And so Grace walks away. She's like, I'll see you later. Like, I'm gonna go actually do some work now. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, leave me with this girl now. So she is like, hi, my name is Haley. I go to this school. How do you like working here? So I told her, I'm like, I really, just need a job and I want these clothes, so I'm working here. She's like, okay. She gives me the same spiel about how if I want to make more money, she does this other thing. I'm like, okay, what is the other thing? Because like I want to hear from her what exactly the job is. Okay, so this is what she tells me. She says that she, for like the past year, 2 years, she goes to this guy's house. She didn't tell me his name and I didn't ask. She goes to his house and gives him massages for like 30 minutes to an hour, and he pays her $200, $250, something like that for an hour. She said he was old, but not like super old. Those were her exact words. Like, he's old, but he's not like gross old, but he is really rich. He lives on Palm Beach Island, like down the street from Donald Trump, who was just Donald Trump at the time. He was not, what we think of him today. He was just, your local neighborhood billionaire who lived on Palm Beach. There were a ton of those. So he lives on Palm Beach Island. He's super rich, and you go there and you give him the massage and you make $250 for the hour. She said that she works here because her parents don't know that she does this. So like she'll come here, and then after her shift, he'll send a car to come pick her up and bring her to his house. She does the massage, and then she gets a ride back to Hollister, and then her parents pick her up and she goes home or whatever. So this is like basically her cover. And she can also recruit other girls for this mission, job, whatever, here at Hollister. So I'm like, what? Like, okay, so you go to this guy's house like a couple times a week, who's old but not super old, who's a billionaire on Palm Beach Island, and you give him a massage as like not a licensed massage artist, just a random 15-year-old girl, and he pays you $200 to $250 every time. And if you bring other girls with you and get them into this, he pays you for that too. And she's like, yeah, it's like $50 for the other girls that I bring. Like it's like unlimited amounts, like however many girls I bring. Like if you want to come, I would make $50, and then you would make $200, $250. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, what? Like, that doesn't even sound right. Like, why is he... And okay, like, I am very, very, like, enthralled and immersed in the true crime world now. This was not the case when I was 16. I did not understand the concept of, like, a sex ring. Like, really, pedophiles weren't on my radar. Like, none of what I was hearing, it all sounded weird, but it didn't sound like super criminal, like this is really bad what like I'm hearing is happening. I just was like really confused and like didn't understand why like he would, like how does this even work as a business model? Like why is he paying you so much money to give him a massage? If he's a billionaire, why doesn't he just like hire a masseuse, like a personal like masseuse who went to like therapeutic massage school and like knows different techniques and stuff? Like why is he asking you, and then why are you in turn getting other like girl? Like I just didn't get it. Like I get it now. I get it now, but like these were just not considerations and thoughts that I was having. So I'm asking her these questions, and I'm like, what? Like you really just give him a massage for $200? Because like I'm starting to like work out in my head that like it would take me a whole week to make $200 if I didn't buy any clothes at this store. And you're telling me that in 1 hour I can make $200. Like, what is the catch here? Like, why isn't everyone doing this? Like, what? I don't know how to give a massage. Like, that's not something that like, that's not within my skill set. So like, does he care about that? Like, am I expected to like actually know what I'm doing? Because I don't like at all. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, he'll tell you what to do. And the way she said that part, I was like, okay, what? Like, I was not, how do I say this? Like a prude at all in high school or anything. And the way that she said that next part, I was like, okay, like, I think I know what time it is. I'm like, okay, so you give him massages? Like, you sure? Like, that's all you do? And she's like, okay, well, like, I need to know, like, how interested you are in this before, like, I go on. And I was not interested at all, but I was very interested in knowing, like, the details of this. So I just told her, like, I'm considering it. And she's like, okay, well, yeah, you go over there and you can do the massage and he'll pay you the $200 for the massage. But like, he is usually naked, and he also will sometimes, you know, like, and she like wouldn't say it. I'm like, he'll like what? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, he'll, you know, like he's naked and he'll like himself. And I'm like, he'll do what? Like, do what to himself? And she's like, he'll, you know, he'll masturbate. And I was like, girl, what? Like, you stand there and give him a massage while he jacks off? Like, that's what you're getting paid $200 for? She's like, no, you don't have to do that, but like that, yeah, like that's usually part of it. And I was like, okay, And do you do anything to him, or you're just like giving him a massage while he's doing, you know, him? And she's like, well, you can make extra money if you want to, you know, participate in that way. And I was like, okay, like even my curiosity, I was just like done at that point. Like I knew everything that like I wanted to know, and I was out after that. That's cool that you do that. I'm not judging you like at all, but I don't think that, not right now. Like I could certainly use a job that pays $200 an hour, but I'm going to pass. And she's like, okay, that's fine. She's like, because honestly, and this is where she really pissed me off. She was like, that's fine, because now that I think about it, I don't ever really see any black girls over there. She's like, so I'm not really sure if like I could even bring you. She's like, at this point, I'm literally like seeing red. She's like, I'm not even sure if like I could bring you, but like I know that like you're friends with Grace and like you're a cheerleader, and I know that you're friends with like other really pretty girls. So like I was thinking maybe like I could recruit you to be a recruiter to like your friends. And I'm like, bitch, what? Like you're telling me that I can't give your creepy guy who's old but not too old massages and maybe more for $200 because I'm black, but since I'm friends with pretty white girls, I still have value because I can bring them into your fucked up organization and they can do the massages and maybe more. Like I can do massages and maybe more even though I'm black, like thank you very much. And I'm like, you know, not only good for the fact that I have pretty white friends. Like I completely like skipped over the fact that she was trying to recruit me into a sex ring and was just pissed off that she was assuming that I could not do massages and more because I was black. I'm sorry, like that is not the point, but I really was pissed about that. So I say no, but I never really like forgot about this. Like this was always something that like, I mean, I didn't like lose sleep over it or anything like I should have, but like I was literally 15 or 16. I wasn't, it was just something weird that happened to Grace, then it happened to me, and like we never even really talked about it. We didn't really tell anybody about it, but we didn't not tell anybody because she told us not to. It just really wasn't something like, you know, when you're in high school, you're so self-absorbed with like all the other things that are like directly affecting you in your life, like, and we didn't know that this was something in the world that like we even needed to be like thinking about, and if we were approached in this way, that was bad. So like there are so many things I would have done differently now, but like it's just not something that I was thinking about at the time. So like a year goes by and a different girl approached me, hit me up the same way, for the same thing like a year later. And I told her that previously another girl had asked me and like whatever, I wasn't interested, fine. So yeah, that I was actually asked twice to join Jeffrey Epstein's whatever, like I don't even know what to call it. And this happened so long ago. So whenever the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein like came up in the news, I remember when I first, because I don't even think that she told me his name. It was just a guy who is old, but not super old, who lives on Palm Beach and is really rich. And so I remember when I heard on the news, like I saw a picture of Jeffrey Epstein, West Palm Beach, and there's always fucked up stuff like news coming out of Florida and South Florida, West Palm Beach. So like I wasn't like, oh my God, what's happening in West Palm Beach? But I always like perk up a little bit because that's my hometown. So I want to see like what crazy shit they're up to now. And when I saw it, like my stomach just dropped, and I just knew immediately that like this is that thing that happened like 15, 20 years ago to me. Like this, what they're describing in the news right now is what was happening down there at that time, and I was asked to be a part of it. I'm pretty sure that that's it, but like I don't know. And so I was like, let me like do a little research and see. I'll put up screenshots of the very first article that I pulled up. I think it was like from the Daily Mail, and it literally the story that I just told you is basically the contents of the article. It says that his main like recruitment tactic was to get high school age girls from Wellington and the surrounding areas to get jobs at Hollister. They specifically named Hollister at the mall at Wellington Green, where I worked, and that they would work there and then try to get the other girls that worked there, specifically the ones whose parents were not rich and who needed jobs and needed to make money, to get them to like work at Hollister as a front basically and get picked up and brought over to his mansion to do whatever, and then, you know, get brought back to Hollister work. When I saw that, like, it even said the whole like massages for $250 or $200 or whatever, and recruiting the other girls for $50. Like literally exactly. Shit, I wonder if Haley was one of the girls that was quoted in the article. I don't remember her real name, but like literally the exact pitch that I got from this girl is the whole write-up of the way the plot and the scheme went down in this article. I couldn't believe it. I ran in to talk to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I never told you when this was happening. And like, I kind of, you know, haven't thought about it for all these years. And I look at her TV and she's watching coverage on Jeffrey Epstein. She's like, oh my God, Sherelle, hold on a second. I'm watching something about like something crazy that's happening in Florida. Like, just hold on a second. And I look at it, I'm like, I know, that's what I'm gonna tell you about. And she's like, this sick fuck. And she's like going off about him. And I'm like, yeah. And I proceeded to tell her like what I just told you guys. And she's like, why didn't you tell me about this at the time? Like, this is insane. Like, she could not believe it. Like, she's still not over it. She's like, I'm so happy that you know, did not accept this proposition twice. I mean, it would have been really easy to say yes. Like, I said no, but like I could have just as easily said yes. Working at Hollister, I made like $7.50 an hour, and I've spent most of it on clothes, so I really wasn't making actual money working there. And I'm not at all opposed to sex work as a profession. Like, I think it's real work. It should be like unionized, legalized, protected. Like, I don't have like negative connotations about women who work in the sex work industry at all. Like, I'm very like in support of all of it being legalized and protected. So that's not, I didn't even have like a moral like outrage, like, oh my gosh, you're asking me to do what? Like, that's not even what I was thinking about it. I just didn't want to do it. But like, and then, you know, because I'm black, I probably couldn't do it anyways. I just didn't. But like, I it's very easy for me to see how like if I was in a like little less supported by my parents' position, or like a little, just if the girls that like did participate in this could have easily, I was them. Like, there's just like one or two things different about our circumstances that like made it a little easier for them to say yes. But I could have very easily said yes too. I just didn't. And this, like, it really hurts because I feel like I should have, even though I said no, like I should have told somebody who was like in a position to tell me that like this is fucked up. And like, because she's telling me like, I'm asking you, and I've already asked all these other girls, I'm going to continue asking these other girls, I would like for you to ask other girls. So like, this is like a web of like her asking me and me asking other people, her continuing to ask other people, those people that she's asking other people. Like, who knows how far this has gone. But like, I was not thinking about this at the time, and I really feel bad. But then like I start reading and I'm like, okay, so actually this was known, like at the time. Like, he did get, I guess, like some repercussions for this. Like, he was prosecuted for this, if you could even like really call it that. I don't, like I said, I'm not going to get into the specifics of his case, but his punishment was bullshit, and it took place like right after the story that I just told you. So like, I guess even if I had said something or known to say something or whatever, I don't really see, I think the outcome would have still been the same. he's still a disgusting individual, and deserved definitely more of a punishment than he got. I mean, he's dead now, so that's something. He's dead now, so that's something. But yeah, I really feel for the girls that did partake in this, because like I said, Netflix has a really good documentary on it, and I've watched a couple other things. The girls are all my age. They grew up in where I lived. They went to the school I went to and the surrounding schools. Like, they are me. And it could have easily, very literally been me. A lot of them, you know, never really recovered from it. Like, they went through some really messed up things with him. And, you know, we all have trauma and we all go through different things. My life hasn't been, you know, super easy since I sidestepped that. Like, everything was fine. Like, I went through things in my own way. I really feel for all of those girls. I'm really glad that they are able to tell their story, have people believe them, and that, you know, things were happening before he killed himself. I just, women really get taken advantage of in a lot of ways. And at that time, we were girls. Like, we weren't even, I don't even know if I was 16 yet. And I know that this girl, the first girl, Haley, had been doing it since she was like 14, maybe even younger. She needed the money. He knew that. They knew exactly how to take advantage of these girls to make it seem like it, you know, wasn't a big deal. And then once you're getting other people in it, now you're really in it. And, you know, you have to tell yourself that this is not that big of a deal, because you're doing it and you're also trying to get other people to do it. Like, I can easily see how one thing for the girls leads to another until you're, you know, just, you're too deep in. And but none of this was their fault. Like, they should not have been preyed upon by this sick fuck in the first place. It was really crazy when all of this came out a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't even know how long ago that was. But yeah, it was really crazy when all of this came out, because as soon as I heard it, I was like, fuck, that is that thing that girl Haley was talking to me and Grace about. I know it. And when I pulled up the Daily Mail article, it was literally step by step everything that I just told you. And I was like, I can't believe this. It was really just like an oh shit moment for me. But yeah, I guess that's the end. If you watch this whole thing, I really appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. This is the first story that I've ever told on camera. I just kind of wanted to see like how it would go, if like I could figure out how to do it. If you guys have any feedback for me, I would actually really appreciate it. So if you could leave a comment and just let me know if like I know the subject matter is not like great. Like, you're not gonna be like, I loved hearing about that. Like, I get that. But if you could let me know like how you feel about the way I told the story, or if this was interesting to you, or if you are interested in hearing about any of the other crazy situations that I was into or got myself into, willingly or unwillingly, I would really appreciate it. So yeah, leave me a comment just with some feedback, like nice if you can, please. And check out some of my other videos if you liked hearing my voice, seeing my face. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Sherelle, and I hope that you guys all have a really good rest of your day. Bye.